Hi, everybody. I want to begin tonight because we're going to start the second half of the codependency series, and I'll be spending time primarily now on the recovery process from codependency. I wanted to begin by doing a reading. I picked a reading from October 16th. Kind of fits into what this recovery process is really all about. Our relationship with ourselves is the most important relationship we need to maintain. The quality of that relationship will determine the quality of every other relationship. We can tell ourselves how we feel and accept our feelings. Then we can tell others. When we accept what we think and believe and accept what's important to us, we can relay this to others. When we learn to laugh at ourselves, we will be ready to laugh with others. When we learn to trust ourselves, we'll be trustworthy and ready to trust. When we can be grateful for who we are, we'll have achieved self-love. When we achieve self-love and accepting our wants and needs, we'll be ready to receive and give love. When we learn to stand on our own 2 feet, we're ready to stand next to someone. They will focus on having a good, healthy relationship with myself. Okay. In doing the recovery process, I want to emphasize a couple of things. What I'll be doing over the next 4 weeks is trying to teach you a process of recovery from codependency. And a lot of these things I'll be doing, you'll be able to do from home. It might take a little bit of work, but you'll be able to do it. Normally in the past, when I did the recovery process, I did it in a group setting, which really worked really well. And hundreds of people went through that group process. But what's important now is that we're able to take this process and begin to apply it to our lives. I share this because I know going through this process myself literally changed the whole aspect of my journey, helped me to make a lot of major decisions, and helped me to be able to be here with you tonight. I never knew it way back in 1984, 85, 86, when I was involved in this process, that I truly will be able to deal with and handle some of the things that go on in my life today. So I highly recommend it. I highly recommend getting involved in it. One of the things I realize is a lot of people, when they hear about this, they want to talk about, how do I get in touch with my inner child? And I try to tell them, getting in touch with your inner child involves a process. It's not an event and it's not magic. It's a beautiful phrase we have in our recovery program. It says, there is no magic in recovery. It is hard work. This process means investing time, investing in doing things with it, but it will help you in the long run. And later on, I'll give you some things I'd like you to do to prepare to get ready to begin to work on this process. The recovery process actually has 6 stages to it. And I have to tell people this because the inner child is number 6, not number 1. It means we have to work our way towards it. See, healing, making peace, going back and getting in touch with our roots, our foundations. We talked about the fact that codependency is the foundation and the root of practically all different areas of life. It definitely is the root of addiction. And so literally, when we go back into our roots, we go back into our healing, we go back into our learning, we go back into our growing. Now, I have to say this because I'll run through the 6 stages real quick just to know what they are. I want to concentrate on stages 1 and 2 tonight, and then I'll work on the other ones. The first stage is called education, learning. The first stage is intellectual. The second stage is building and developing a good, healthy support group for yourself. Remember the concept, it takes a family, basically, to educate a child. It takes a family to raise a child. So inside of each one of us, there is this little child, this beautiful little child, who over the years, maybe for many of us, has gotten lost. And now it's time for us to rediscover it and get in touch with him. And it's exciting. I never knew that I'd get in touch with little Vinny and really get to know him because I was too busy being Big Vinny. And Big Vinny was pretty kind of frozen and kind of stuffy. And Big Vinny was scared and afraid. Control is something that many of us get in touch with. So control and fear are the biggest parts. But I want to share kind of a funny thing to get us started. I want to talk about something called the codependent crazies. See, codependents have this intensity inside of them where they have to really get things done. We also have the intensity of wanting to fix people. So there's the little concept of a little old lady standing on a street corner, and this wonderful codependent comes up to her and says, I will help you across the street. Grabs her arm and starts taking her across the street. On the way across the street, she keeps punching him and telling him, leave her alone, everything else. She gets to the other side and he said, I just wanted to help you so you would get across safely. She said, she smacked him with a cane and said, I don't want to cross the street. I was waiting for a bus. But see, codependents don't ask. See, interdependency would mean I would go up to her and say, ma'am, do you need help crossing the street? And if she said no, you leave her alone. And many of us decide very many times on what's good for somebody else. And then we're going to make it happen, even though we're powerless over that. There's an old saying we learned in AA, I learned in AA, and all of us have learned in AA. You know, I can carry the message, I can't carry the drunk. I can't carry somebody else, but I can carry the message. Then we have to let it go, and it's hard. And so the first stage of recovery is learning how to educate ourselves, because I want to share this also. Most codependents have a tendency to basically want to function solely in their intellect. Why? Because I'm scared. I'm scared of things like feelings, getting in touch with what's going on inside of me, being able to make decisions, to have to make changes, to have to really face some of the things I don't want to face. And that's why I describe us very many times as people that are frozen on the inside. But I understand that. If you've been through a lot of dysfunctionality, a lot of hurt, and a lot of pain, it's almost like I'm done. I'm not going to go through it anymore. Therefore, I'm going to go into survivor mode and I'm going to survive life. And many of us can do that through different areas of addiction. We can do it through behavior. We can do it very many different ways. But the thing we're mostly scared of, again, I'm speaking from experience, we're scared to truly go deep inside and truly get to know who we really are. You know, it's interesting. I looked at my own life. And I spent 44 years of my life in isolation, 44 years performing. And we're good at this, codependence. We're good at externally performing. We get things done. We're good at what we do. Well, who are we? What's going on inside of us? I never understood what it meant when they told me years ago I was spiritually dead. I didn't know what they were talking about, but now I do. And getting in touch with the inner part of yourself, that little child inside of you, going through a healing process. And this helped me to be able to finally get to a point to make some major decisions, to make major changes, and to be able to move forward in the journey of life. And to be open to new ideas, new directions, new things, and learn the concept is that you never can be done. Please don't look to be done. Remember, the only time you're done in this program, for codependents especially, is 50 years after you're dead. See, it takes us a long time even to accept the fact that we're dead. It's amazing. We're amazing people because we even try to control that. And so the reality is, it's this life journey, this process we have to go on. And yet I understand education because with education, it's safe. See, codependence, I mentioned it last week. We love to read. We love to get information. We love to find things out. We love to analyze. We're trying to figure it out. And I know I can give you a lot of material today. And then many codependents will go home and want to figure the whole thing out by midnight tonight. It doesn't work that way. It's a process, a slow process of learning, of developing and growing. And it's exciting. And that's the thing I really get excited about. I can't help it. So you're gonna have to put up with me, Pat. I can't help it. But the bottom line is, I'm learning over and over again the value of being able to work through the process of change and the process of growth. So education is safe. I recommend reading many of the books. Two of my favorite books, the book that changed my life completely. I'll never forget this. I picked that book up in 1984. The book was called Adult Children of Alcoholics by Janet Wolitz. When I read that book, it's almost like Janet lived in my house. And all of a sudden, the traits, the characteristics, the things connected with that book opened up a whole new dimension in my life. And the reason why I started doing these talks on codependency is because as a result of that book, I began a whole new journey in my life. The other books I recommend are Codependent No More by Melanie Beattie, The Language of Letting Go by her, More on the Language of Letting Go. Melanie Beattie has a lot of stuff out there on codependency, and also does Pia Melanie, Facing Codependency, workshops, things of this effect. And these are all good for the educational process, to be able to learn, to discover, find things out. And I like that because I don't want to get into this recovery process unless I know what I'm getting into. Because I'm a good codependent. Give me the information, let me know what I'm doing, then maybe I'll be ready to do it. And that's why I tell people, we don't ask you to go to the second stage of recovery until you're ready. Remember, a lady one time came up to me and she said, I've been coming to your lectures for 3.5 years. I really enjoy them. I got a lot out of them. I took a lot of notes. She said, but I think I'm ready now to go to that second stage. Well, it took her 3.5 years, but that's okay. We only can do work when we're ready to do it. We can't force it. I've learned a long time ago to force memory, to force anything is extremely unhealthy. And that's why it's important when you're ready, when you have the information. And I'll tell you another funny little thing. I love when codependents try to hire a therapist. See, we're the only people that want to know, where'd you go to school? How old are you? How do you know about this? Prove it to me. What color underwear are you wearing? Where do you live? How many things you belong to? They want to know everything about you. Because they have to make sure that literally you're all credentialed and ready to really work with them. And the bottom line is, it only comes through experience. I mean this when I said it. And I can have all the degrees in the world and not be able to handle codependency. I mean, I studied theology, I studied all kinds of things. I've got plenty of degrees. And none of that stuff helped me. But it was going through a simple process. It helped me to change a lot of things in the course of my journey. And that's why that second stage is so important. To build a healthy support system. It's so important for us to realize the fact that we're not alone, that we need each other, that we learn from one another, we grow from each other. There are no stars in this program. We're all individuals on a journey. We're learning, we're growing from one another. We all have different talents. But what I've learned is you can't do it alone. See, if I try to do things alone, I'm just staying up here. And this makes me crazy. I need to be able to go down to my gut and my heart, the parts that are really important, and get in touch with them. And that takes time. It takes patience. And it takes opening up a little bit at a time. Little is better. It's a process we go through. And age doesn't make a difference. I don't care. Because learning this is learning about life and learning about the gift of spirituality, the gift of growing as a person and learning about yourself. You know, there's that old beautiful song, getting to know me is getting to love me. I need to sing that song to myself because I realize the fact is the more I get to know about myself, the more I can learn to love myself. And as the reading said, the more I'm able to love myself, the more energy and feelings I can give to others. I can't give anybody anything I don't have. It's got to come from your heart, from your gut, from your spirit, from what's inside of you. And that's why it's so important that we're able to take this stuff and apply it and live it within our own lives. But we need help, we need guidance. So we learn from each other. We need some sort of a recovery family. That's why I call building a support group is building a good, healthy family. I even recommend, if people can do this, if 3 or 4 of you can get together and I go through this process with you, and if you can do it together as a group, it's even much more powerful. I know I learned this lesson in doing my step work. I love doing my step work with 3 or 4 other people. I learned so much from them as they learned from me. And that's why I told you this plenty of times. We need to have support systems. I know on my journey in my life today, I've got 3 families. Love my 3 families. I have my blood family. I love them. They're nice people. I enjoy them when I'm around them. I don't talk recovery with my blood family. I talk about their bunions. I talk about their knee transplants, whatever they got going on. I don't know. The old neighborhoods, that kind of stuff. It's called small talk. And we enjoy one another. I remember the big mistake I made when I discovered the issue of codependency. And I got so excited. I wanted to tell my wonderful, fantastic Italian family all about my discovery of codependency. And of course, like a total nut, I decided to do it on Thanksgiving Day when everybody was there. I brought all the books home with me because now I have put together a nice library of codependency books. I brought them home and I said, guess what? I discovered something very special that we really need to do in this family to help us to become a better family. I started talking about this and I could see their eyeballs starting to roll around a little bit. I could see my aunt still sitting in a chair and she was sitting there going like this to me constantly. And my other aunt said, we send you to college, you come home crazy. You have to stop hanging around those crazy people you hang around and stop all this stuff. And I almost turned Thanksgiving into a disaster because of my codependency traits, wanting them to have what I was experiencing. It doesn't work, believe me. I have my wife's family, whom I love. My wife is a great support. Her family, her brothers, her sisters are good support to me. They don't always, her brothers don't always understand a lot of what I'm doing, but they support it. So I get a lot of support. But then there's my recovery family, the hundreds of people, the thousands of people I've met over the years in this wonderful program, in all the different 12-step programs I've been involved with, my recovery family. And I get so excited to be around people in recovery because there's an energy that goes along with that. And why I love it so much is it's from all different walks of life. Young people, older people, all connected together. And we all experience the gift of who we are. And we share that energy and we share that love with one another. You know, I love being around young people in recovery. Every few months, I give a talk over at the 400 Club, the AA Clubhouse. And we've got a lot of them young guys there. I love them. We have a good time with them, the guys and gals. I get a big kick out of it, you know. And so we cut each other up a little bit during the talk. We have a good time. And I'm always talking about, they tell me they can tell I'm a senior citizen by my shoes, because my shoes have Velcro. And I say, I can tell you're young because your shoes are never tied. So I go back and forth. I says, you walk around with your shoes untied. But what's going on here? And then you walk around with clothes that's all ripped and all torn, this kind of stuff and everything else. And they say, yeah, but look at you, your dungarees have a crease in them. I call them dungarees. They didn't even know what a dungaree was. And so we go back and forth. We have a good time. We laugh. That's what it's all about. That's what recovery is all about. It's not about worrying, trying to figure it out. Where's it going to be? I'm convinced that the higher power works more beautifully in us when we're not in a worry mode. We're trying to figure it out mode. We're trying to analyze it mode. Trying to make ourselves crazy mode. That's more forms of the codependent crazies. How are we going to do this? Just do it. See what happens. It involves faith. It involves trust. It involves opening up. And I really believe in the miracles of this program, the beautiful gifts that come to us, the things that happen. And yet, we need each other. I've said this so many times, one of my favorite sayings. My favorite library on the face of the earth is my recovery library. People, experience, strength, hope. Everybody in this room tonight has a story. Your story is the greatest story on the face of this earth. Even yours, Pat, too. All these stories are part of who we are. And what's important is that we listen to each other's stories. We learn from one another. I even learn from Carol once in a while. It's beautiful. But the bottom line is we learn from each other. We grow from each other. You know, I see this in different people, from Sue, from Mark, from Roz, all these people. We all got history. We all got a story. We all got things we can share. We can connect. Even Saul down in Florida can help us out here. But it's totally amazing. We learn from each other. We grow. There are no stars. There are no heroes. There's just people, human beings, struggling, working through stuff. That's what it's all about. That's why I need, and we all need, to have the support system of people around us to help us through the journey. When you're not doing it alone, you're doing it with others. It makes it so much easier. It makes it so much more open. And as a result, then we're constantly learning, we're growing. I see beautiful new things from my grandkids, from younger kids. It's just amazing today. Our 9 and 10-year-olds can teach us so much. It's just amazing. You know, I wouldn't be using this machine today if it wasn't for my grandkids taking me and showing me how to use it, connecting me with it. Now I got all these apps. When I first found out about this, they told me we got to go to the app store and get apps. I was putting the code on to go to the mall. I don't know where they were going. The bottom line was now I got about 40 apps in my phone. I got an app for everything. Pretty soon there'll be an app for washing my clothes in here. Who knows what's going to come next? It's amazing. But it's also exciting because it takes you in a different direction. If we use this stuff positively and use it for growth. I love in the morning, my meditations in the morning, posting one of my meditations on Facebook. I love it. I love staying connected with the people I have on Facebook. It's another vehicle, another way to get things out there, you know, to put it on Starting Points Facebook, to connect back and forth, just the way we communicate and connect with each other. That's why I'm talking about this process I'm going to be working with you on and teaching you, is a process that we need to do with each other, to learn from each other. That's why we get confused, we ask questions. Nobody has to have all the answers. We open up the doors, we see what happens. And each one of us is so unique. And it's so exciting because we're each going to find that little child, that inner child within each and every one of us. And I'm going to tell you, that little child is your healer. It is the real you. It's a connection deep down inside. And so these first two stages, you know, education and building a support system for yourself are very important. It means I want to get out of my head a little bit, connect with other people, be open to learn from them, to grow from them, and begin to realize the fact I can have other people in my life. It's such a wonderful world to live in. I mean, forget about all the insanity out there in the world and everything else. We need to be able to build our connection with the people we have and where we are on our journey today. And that's what's important. Because like that reading said, if you really do work on yourself and do your work and get in touch with the real you, you'll carry a message of love to others. They'll carry it to others. It's that passing on process we talk about all the time. But I got to give you some assignments. Now, I was told before the lecture tonight by some very interesting people to make sure I give out assignments. Okay, so I have to do it. Sorry. You know, if you want to blame somebody, blame Denise and Charlie. They told me to give the assignments out tonight. And so basically, what I'd like you to look at to really do this process, and it's up to you. Remember, by the way, I'm just giving you suggestions. If you don't get these things done, you're welcome to come back next week. Okay, don't run away, please. All right, Randy, don't run away. Okay, Vicky, don't run away. It's really important. It's all part of it. It's part of the growth process we have to go through. Now, what I'd like you to do is to purchase 2 notebooks. Go to the dollar and a quarter store, I gotta call it that now, and get 2 notebooks. One's going to be your negative notebook, one's going to be your positive notebook. Secondly, if you have the opportunity, if you have anything that brings you back to your childhood, I recommend getting a photograph of yourself as a little child, a little boy or a little girl. I recommend, if you have any memorabilia from your childhood, things that bring back memories, gather it together. The more stuff that you can relate back to when you were a little child. I was surprised my mother died, and I cleaned out the house. In some of her drawers, I found my little booties when I was a little baby. They were worn out on one side. I found the toe tag they put on me when I was born back in 1940. It actually tagged your toe back then. I found all kinds of little memorabilia my mother had kept together in memory of me. And I love it so much because I told you before, even some of the clothing from back then, my wife had it made into a doll, a little doll of little Vinny. My statistics, everything on the doll. It's really neat how we can do all these wonderful things to connect back. Anything that'll bring you back, to help you to have memories. And I'm talking about stuff back from your childhood. In doing this work, we're concentrating on ages 0 to 10. And so next week, I'm going to talk a lot about affirmations and self-parenting. 2 powerful processes. Affirmations we're going to talk about because we need to learn how to retrain ourselves to think positively, because we don't want to do family of origin work or inner child work unless you're doing it with a positive attitude. It's not about finding out what's wrong with you. I got to tell you this. I hate doing it, but I got to do it. Okay, so get ready. There's nothing wrong with anybody in this room. Congratulations. We're just human beings on a journey. Yes, we have idiosyncrasies and we have our little defects and little crazy little things that we do and all that kind of stuff. Welcome to the club. But the bottom line is, there's nothing wrong with any of us. Our history, the past, things that have happened, everyone is a teachable moment. If I have the courage to face them, to embrace them, to learn from them, grow from them, there's something I can draw something positive from every negative. And so whatever happened in your life, we have to be able to move to the other side now and begin to realize, what did I learn? How did I grow from all this? And I'll show you the technique for doing this. It's a journaling technique and it works. Pretty powerful. But in order to get ready for next week, I'm going to ask you to do a little assignment. I'm going to ask you to take one of your notebooks. I'm going to ask you to write a composition entitled My Fantasy Family. Now, I want you to make believe your real family doesn't exist and go back to ages 0 to 10. And if you were a little child just getting ready to be born, I want you to create on paper your perfect mother you would like to have, your perfect father. It's a fantasy, by the way. You're not being disloyal to your family. You're allowing your little child now to start creating. You can create the perfect environment, perfect siblings. You can get rid of them if you want to. Be an only child, whatever you want to be, it's your fantasy. Give yourself permission to use your imagination. Use the concept of fantasy, because it will help you, believe it or not. By doing this assignment, we'll be able to identify, you'll be able to identify all of your needs, not even knowing you're doing it. See, that's the secret of the assignments and things that we do. We want you to be able to do this stuff, not intellectually trying to figure it out. By doing a fantasy family, you don't even realize it, but you're identifying all of your personal needs. And we'll work on some of them next week. I'll show you how to do it. It's a beautiful concept and it works. And that's where we also need to get the help. You know, like tonight, if there's anybody on this Zoom that you know, someone you may be able to call or talk to, and maybe be able to do this work along with them, do it together. You know, you might have a couple of friends that are here tonight. But it's good to be able to do this with a couple of other people. It gives more strength. You know, we had a big crowd at 12 noon today. A lot of them are available too. So it's a big part of it. Jerome knows, he's done a lot of this, and he knows what it means to have those support. In fact, he still has a support system of 3 people that goes back, it's got to be now at least 9 years, 10 years. And so does Jeannie. It goes way back. Jeannie goes back almost 17 years. It's totally amazing. And those support systems are stronger and stronger and stronger. In Jeannie's case, it turned into a woman's codependency group. You know, in Jerome's, it came into a CODA group. All kinds of things developed from this. It's totally amazing how this stuff works. And they're the miracles of this process, how it comes together. And so we learn and we're open from that. And so don't be afraid to write that fantasy family. By the way, I'm not going to ask you to read it, but I'll show you what to do with it. I'll give you techniques on working with it. And you know, if you need a little bit of help with it, you can always get in touch with me. I'll try to help you out with it. But be able to work through it. It's real important. It's a big part of the process. I give these assignments out because it's important to do homework. It's important to be able to look at things. We'll talk about self-parenting next week, which is also a very powerful process. And I'll explain it more as we get into it. And I'll show you a very powerful book called The 12 Steps of Self-Parenting, which is a way to take you through this whole parenting process. It's really beautiful and it does work. So there's a lot. And again, I don't expect you to jump in and get all this done by tomorrow. These are just suggestions, these are techniques, and these are ways that will help you to begin to do this process and be able to help you to bring this process to your life and then from there to others. I always talk about the concept of passing things on. And that's why I emphasize the support system. We need each other. We need to be connected to each other. You know, I find it interesting how so many good, great 12-step groups build strong bonds, strong support. I know my EDA group, my Eating Disorder Anonymous group, I go to my home group meeting on Monday night. We started out with 4 people. Now there's 42 people in our group. It's totally amazing how this thing grows. Our Friday group has gone from 3 people up now to 28 people. And it just keeps growing. And we connect with people. That's why I'm so grateful today, even for the instrument of Zoom. We have a lady actually chairing our home group meeting next week from Japan. It's totally amazing. Never thought I'd be able to do stuff like this. My sponsor lives in California. I talk to my sponsor every week. We do it with Zoom. Everything's interconnected. It's like I'm building another whole outlet of people that I can learn from, I can grow from. And many of us who are in programs understand this. So we have to look everything as a gift. I look at this as a gift. It's totally amazing. The lectures now, we have people coming from Texas, from Canada, from Arizona. I don't know what's next, but it's beautiful because you get to meet people from different areas, different concepts. I look at Saul. He's down here roasting away in Florida. We're roasting away up here too, Saul, don't worry. But the bottom line is, we have people coming from different parts of the area now. So we have to use everything possible to get the message of recovery out there, whether it be Zoom, in person, whether it be, I don't know, all those other things that I don't know really that familiar with yet, but there's a lot more of them out there. Now they tell me about all these Instagrams and all kinds of stuff and everything else. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm getting nuts with all that. I love it though. That's the fun part about life. It's such an adventure. That's the fun part about it, and be open to it. So my prayer tonight is that we can open our hearts and open our minds to work at this process, to connect with it, and to realize the fact that we're just beautiful, beautiful human beings on a journey. And we need each other. We need to stay connected to each other, to learn from each other, to grow from each other. And remember how important every person is. We all have a story. And God, the more stories I hear, the more I learn. And I've heard some great stories over the years, what people have been through. It's amazing. It really is. And so let us pray and ask God to bless us as we go on this journey of recovery. Let us pray. God, we come before you tonight in a spirit of openness, in a spirit of wonderment. We ask the God of our understanding, our higher power, our divine presence, to guide us and be with us and help us on this journey. Teach us that we are not alone. That you keep sending into our life all these teachers and messengers and different things, experiences, everything we've gone through. We can grow, we can learn from it. For you are our greatest teacher. You are our guide, you are our strength. We ask for your guidance, for your direction every day. We begin our day with you, we end our day with you. We ask that you help us as we go on this journey, a journey of faith, a journey of trust, a journey of openness, a journey of learning, a journey of self-discovery, a journey of sharing, a journey of service. So many beautiful journeys, just to be able to feel the energy and feel the strength and be able to be part of the journey that you have sent us on. For we are all your messengers. We're all connected. We're all part of each other. So we thank you. We thank you for this gift. Thank you for the gift of our life, for the gift of our journey. And we pray that we may continue to be a guide in all that we do and be able to be a learner and a guide in all of our strength, as long as you are there to help us and guide us. We pray and we ask this every day. We pray it in your name. Amen.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.